Hello and welcome back to our channel, where we dive deep into the myths and legends that have shaped our world. Today, we re-journeying into the shadows to uncover the truth about one of the most misunderstood gods in the Greek pantheon, Hades, the ruler of the underworld. When you hear his name, what comes to mind? A dark, villainous figure, scheming in the depths. Well, get ready to have that image completely shattered. The real story of Hades is far more complex and fascinating. He wasn't the Greek equivalent of the devil, but a powerful, just, and essential force in the cosmic order. So, grab your golden bow, pay your respects to Curran, and let's cross the river Styx together to meet the true king of the underworld. The story begins after the great war against the Titans. The victorious Olympian gods, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, had to decide how to divide the cosmos. They drew lots. Zeus, the youngest, drew the heavens and became the king of the gods. Poseidon drew the seas, commanding the waves and all that lived within them. And Hades, he drew the underworld, the vast mysterious realm where the souls of all mortals go after death. Now, this wasn't a punishment or a lesser role. It was an essential, monumental responsibility. The underworld wasn't a place of eternal torment for everyone. It was simply the final destination for all mortals, a fundamental part of the cycle of existence. Hades was tasked with governing this entire kingdom, ensuring that the dead remained separate from the living and that the natural order was maintained. It was a job that required immense power, unwavering authority, and a steady hand. He wasn't the god of death itself. That role belonged to Thanatos, but the king of the realm of the dead. So, what was this kingdom actually like? Far from being just a fiery pit of despair, the underworld was a diverse and intricate place. Souls would first cross the river Styx, ferried by the grim Charon, and then face the three-headed dog, Cerberus, who guarded the gates, letting all in but none out. Once inside, the realm was divided. There were the Asphodel Meadows, a vast, neutral plain where the souls of ordinary people who had lived neither exceptionally good nor evil lives wandered aimlessly. It was a place of shadow and quiet, not punishment. Then there was Tartarus, the deep abyss used as a dungeon of torment and suffering for the wicked and the enemies of the gods, like the Titans. But there was also a paradise, the Elysian Fields, or Elysium. This was a beautiful, peaceful land where the heroic and the virtuous were sent to enjoy a blessed and happy afterlife. Hades presided over all of it, a just and impartial judge. His duty was to maintain balance, not to inflict suffering. He was a stern ruler, yes, but a fair one. He rarely left his kingdom, focused entirely on his duties, ensuring that the cosmic balance between life and death was never disturbed. Now, we cue on to talk about Hades without mentioning the most famous story associated with him. His love for Persephone. Hades, ruling alone in his vast shadowy kingdom, grew lonely. He saw Persephone, the beautiful daughter of Demeter, the goddess of the harvest, and was instantly captivated. He decided he wanted her as his queen. So, in a dramatic move, he emerged from the underworld in his chariot and took her back with him. This abduction, as it's often called, threw the world into chaos. Demeter, heartbroken and furious, neglected her duties. The crops failed, the earth grew cold and barren, and humanity faced starvation. This was the world's first winter. Zeus, seeing the devastation, had to intervene. He sent Hermes, the messenger god, to the underworld to demand Persephone's return. Hades agreed to let her go, but with one clever condition. Before she left, he offered her a pomegranate, and Persephone ate a few of the seeds. In the ancient world, sharing food with someone in their home created a sacred bond. By eating the fruit of the underworld, Persephone had tied herself to it, and to its king. A compromise had to be made. It was decreed that Persephone would spend part of the year in the underworld as Hades' queen, and the other part on Earth with her mother. This myth beautifully explains the changing of the seasons. When Persephone is with Hades, Demeter mourns, and the world experiences autumn and winter. But when she returns to the surface, Demeter rejoices, and spring and summer burst forth. This story also transformed Hades' role. He was no longer just the ruler of the dead, but also a key figure in the cycle of renewal and rebirth. Through his marriage to Persephone, Hades became a guardian of the cycle of life, death, and regeneration. His realm wasn't just an endpoint. It was part of a continuous loop. Winter gives way to spring, just as death is a necessary precursor to new life. Persephone, the goddess of spring, became the queen of the underworld, bridging the two worlds and embodying this very cycle. She wasn't a prisoner but a powerful ruler in her own right, sharing the throne with Hades and commanding respect. Together they ruled as a balanced pair, the light and the shadow, the beginning and the end. Mortals on Earth had a deep-seated fear of Hades, so much so that they often avoided saying his name aloud, referring to him instead by titles like the Wealthy One, a nod to the precious minerals and gems found deep within the earth, his domain. This wasn't because he was evil, but because he represented the ultimate, unavoidable finality of death. He was the one god who treated all mortals equally. Rich or poor, king or peasant, all eventually came before him. He was the great equalizer, the final judge whose verdict was absolute and impartial. So, why has Hades been so consistently portrayed as a villain in modern media? A lot of this stems from later interpretations, particularly the blending of Greek mythology with other belief systems that have a distinct concept of a single, purely evil figure ruling a place of eternal punishment. The ancient Greeks didn't see the world in such black and white terms. Their gods were complex, with both virtues and flaws, much like humans. Hades' role was necessary and, in its own way, noble. He maintained a crucial part of the world's order. He didn't seek to overthrow Zeus or cause chaos on Earth, in fact. He actively worked to prevent it by keeping the dead where they belonged. He was a solitary, serious, and dutiful god, committed to his immense responsibility. He represents the stark, unchangeable reality of mortality, but also the balance that underpins the entire universe. He is not the god of evil, but the god of necessity, the keeper of souls, the guardian of cosmic law, and the silent king who ensures that for every ending there is a place of rest. The true nature of Hades is a powerful reminder that things we fear are often simply things we do not understand. By looking past the modern caricature, we find a figure of immense importance, a god of balance, justice, and the profound, cyclical nature of existence itself. He teaches us that death is not an evil to be fought, but a natural part of life's grand design. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the depths of the underworld. What do you think about Hades? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into mythology, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Until next time, stay curious.